Hello everyone, welcome to another video. As you can see in the title of this video, I've become a Microsoft MVP and I want to share my journey and also tips and tricks on how to become an MVP with you. The plan for today is that I give you first an overview on the different ways to become a Microsoft MVP. Then I will talk about the benefits being part of the MVP program and also share my journey. This should give you an idea of the effort it takes to become an MVP and might also give you some inspiration if you want to become one. To keep it fully transparent, I will also talk about my first nomination in 2022, which I got back then but also got rejected. We will end this video with a question I got about my wheels, and I will show you my big hobby, sim racing. The last section of this video will give you an outlook about the future of the channel, update schedule, and what type of content I plan to make. As always, if you're interested in the slides, since there's no demo code today, you can scan the QR code or click the link in the description down below. Now let's get started with the first topic and talk about how to become an MVP. There are many ways to become an MVP, but overall you have to contribute to the community. This can be by organizing meetups, creating content such as YouTube videos or blog posts, speaking at conferences, or contribute to open source or the Microsoft documentation, which is also open source. What's important is that only contributions from the last 12 months count. So if you did something amazing 2 years ago, then it's still great, but it does not count towards becoming an MVP, unfortunately. To become an MVP, you have to be nominated by an existing MVP or a full-time Microsoft employee. Once you're nominated, you receive an email and you'll be asked to summarize your contributions and the impact of them. For example, if you spoke at a conference with 10,000 attendees, then it is obviously more impactful than speaking at a local meetup in front of 3 people. But it does not mean you shouldn't speak at small events either. Every contribution is valuable and you can up to 24 contributions for your nomination. When you add your contributions, you also have to select the category that fits your contribution or your MVP award best. For example, most of my contributions were for AKS or DevOps. Figuring out your contribution sounds quite trivial, but it took me probably between 15 and 20 hours, and it's also the only option you have to present your case to get the award. Therefore, you want to polish it as much as possible and spend a lot of time with it. Once you have submitted your application, the waiting time starts, which is horrible, to be honest. It can take up to 90 days to receive an answer, and the notifications are usually sent out on the 1st of the month at midnight UTC. Becoming an MVP does not give you money directly or money value, but it gives you access to the MVP teams where you can share your knowledge and also network with all the other MVPs. Additionally, you get invited to sessions with the product groups and get the chance to give feedback about features and also get to know about new features before they're publicly announced. All these sessions are under an NDA, so you can't share them, but still nice to know. Besides the networking part, you are sent the MVP trophy, which looks really nice in my opinion, and a date disc. You will receive a new date disc for each year in the program and a special one every 5 years. So you can see the trophy here. The last benefits are that you also get some licenses, for example for Visual Studio or Office, as well as third-party tools such as Pluralsight. It has been only a couple of weeks since I'm part of the MVP program, but being part of the community was already worth it for me. Now let's talk about what I did to receive the MVP award. I've started my YouTube channel a bit over a year ago and I have posted a new video every week since then without missing a single upload. Regarding the MVP posting so many videos could be considered a waste, since you can only use 24 contributions for the nomination. But I created the videos because I wanted to share my learnings and also just learn something new. I also created blog posts for each video. They are AI generated based on the transcript of the video, and I have to admit that I don't invest too much time into creating them, but this gives people who prefer reading over watching videos another option to consume my content. My next category of contributions was speaking at conferences. I spoke at a total of 8 meetups and conferences, and all my talks were about AKS and Azure DevOps. Then I have also written 4 articles in the German Windows Developer magazine, from which 3 made it on the title page. And lastly, I've created 3 pull requests on GitHub to improve the Azure documentation. So as you can see, I have a wide range of different contributions, and I have read that it can increase your chances to have like different types of contributions, but I don't know if that's actually true. I did them mostly because I wanted to and did not optimize them to get the MVP award. Even though I had so many different contributions last year, I only received the MVP award for AKS in the Azure category and not for DevOps. This shows how hard it can be to get the award. And this leads us to the next topic. So on the internet, you often only hear positive news and rarely about failures, but I want to tell you about my first nomination for the MVP award and how it was not successful. I was nominated in the beginning of 2022. We were still in the pandemic and life slowly started to get back to normal. Due to the pandemic, there were barely any conferences, and obviously everyone's mind was not really focused on community work. So back then, the nomination process was also a bit different, and you could add all your contributions, not just 24. So I had spoken at one conference and I published 52 blog posts. The blog posts were all very long and a lot of work went into creating them. They were part of a series about microservices, Azure, AKS, and DevOps. And the GitHub repository for this project got almost 600 stars. So I thought that my contributions were maybe not stellar, but not bad at all, especially in a year of the pandemic. It took 4 months of waiting, and then I received the most unprofessional, meanest email I've ever received, notifying me that I did not get the MVP award. I'm paraphrasing a bit, but the email basically asked me how I dare to accept the nomination and that I should read about the requirements to become an MVP. I also still don't understand to this day why I received this personal email and not just a standard automated "sorry for not getting it this time, but try again" email. I'm sharing this with you to tell you that even if you don't get it on the first or second try, just continue doing what you're doing, and especially if you enjoy what you're doing. I know someone who got the MVP award on the 9th try, so this shows that everything is possible. Now let's talk about the tips I can give you if you're interested in becoming an MVP. The biggest tip I can give you is don't create content or speak at conferences solely for the MVP award. Do it because you want to do it. Otherwise it becomes a chore and you won't be able to sustain it. For me, talking about Azure and sharing my know-how is the greatest thing in the world. I could do it all day long, and therefore creating all the content was something I enjoyed. But you can optimize your content for the MVP award. You can enter up to 24 contributions for the nomination, and I would recommend that you get at least close to that number. Also keep in mind that the contributions have to be in the category you want to get the MVP award. So if you have a handful of videos in different categories, then you will get neither. For example, if you have 3 videos about databases, 3 videos about DevOps, 4 about AKS and 5 about Entra, then you have a total of 19 videos, but most of them won't count because they are all in different categories. This means that you should find a niche and then focus on this niche. If you take a look at my content, most of it is about AKS and also often mixed with DevOps. And here and there a couple of other Azure topics. Once you have your contributions over the last 12 months, now comes the, at least for me, most awkward part of the entire process. You have to find someone who nominates you, and I personally hate to ask someone else to do that for you. Fortunately, I've met so many MVPs over the last couple of years speaking at conferences that I was not too worried about it, but sometimes these things also just happen. For example, if we take a look at the way I was nominated. I asked a Microsoft employee who I was certain that he would nominate me, but it was one of his last days at Microsoft, so he didn't have the time to do so. Shortly after that, I saw a former colleague commenting on a couple of posts in the Azure Reddit forum, and I haven't heard from him in a while, so I messaged him on LinkedIn and we talked a bit, and then I saw that he became an MVP himself last year. I congratulated him, and then he asked me if he should nominate me as well. I'm still new to the MVP process, but if you have any questions, feel free to message me on LinkedIn or leave a comment down below. For the end of the video, I want to answer a question I got a couple times in the past and then give you an outlook on the future of my channel and the content I plan to make. So I've been asked a couple of times what's up with the steering wheels that you can see in the background. I think you can see it behind me here. And also why they're changing sometimes. So my biggest hobby is sim racing. You can see my sim rig here on the photo. I took a while, but I was able to convince my wife, and now I have this right next to my desk. I switch the steering wheel depending on what type of car I drive. I drive mostly cars with a lot of downforce, such the Formula 3 or the LMP2 on iRacing, and I use the blue wheel for that. But I also try to race off-road, trucks, and lately trying to understand NASCAR. For these types I use the round wheel, which you can see behind me, and then I hang the unused wheel behind me. I race under my real name, so if you see me in a session, come and say hi to me. And the sim rig with the triple monitor setup needs a lot of space and I can barely walk past it. Therefore I don't have any decorations behind me except the wheel, because it hangs high enough that it doesn't limit the walking space. So the last topic I want to talk today is the future of the channel. For the last 15 months, I've published a new video every week. This takes a lot of work and time because my videos are usually quite long and I need much time for the preparation. But also I'm kind of running out of topics to make a new video every week. And therefore I've decided that from now on I will switch to a bi-weekly release schedule. This means the next week will be the first week in what feels like forever that I will not release a new video. The topics of the videos won't change though. This means that I will continue on focusing about AKS with a mix of DevOps wherever suitable. However, I plan to look more into niche AKS topics and also plan to cover new features when they are released. The long-term goal is that you will find everything about AKS on my channel. For example, my next video in 2 weeks will be about using multiple DNS zones with your cert manager to automatically create TLS certificates, and after that I plan to show you how to use the AKS implementation of Carpenter called Node Auto Provisioning, which gives you more flexible and cost optimized node scaling compared to the cluster autoscaler Azure provides. In my normal day job, I work with many different aspects of Azure, such as security, governance, or architecture. And so it is very likely that I will also make videos about anything interesting I encounter, and also may publish the video in an off week. Meaning that there will be more videos than every second week probably. This video has gotten way longer than I originally planned, so I think it is time to end here. If you made it this far, thank you for watching, and if you have any questions about becoming an MVP, let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you in 2 weeks with another video.